Welcome back to our channel Aman Codes. In previous episode, we have seen about int data type and its all conversions and number system also. So in today's episode, we are going to see about float data type. So here, float is one of the predefined class and it is treated as a fundamental data type. So see, in fundamental data type, we have four data types. They are int, float, bool, complex. Float is a second fundamental data type in fundamental category. So the purpose of the float data type is to store real constant values or floating point values such as CGPA, percentage, percentile, etc. So why we need to use float data type means the purpose of float data type is to store the real constant values. For example, pi value 3.14 so on. The big value is there. In order to store that pi value, in order to store the e value, we are using float data type. And also we can store floating point values like 9.30, 8.20, like floating point values also we can store by using the float data type. So let's see how float data type is used in practical. So now I'm opening the Python command prompt. See, now I'm declaring a float value 78.9. See, I'm trying to print that value. The value is 78.9 and it comes under float type. Float is a class. So we are trying to do the floating point addition. See now, A is equals to 98.9, B is equals to 90.8. So take a variable C is equals to A plus B. I'm trying to print first A and type of A. 98.9 is float value. Float is a class in Python. I'm trying to print B value also and type of B. B is 90.8. It is also a float. Now I'm trying to print C. The addition of 98.9 plus 90.8 is 189.7. So it is also comes under float data type. Float is an class in Python. So we can do addition of two floating point values by using float type. So see, we are declaring one variable as integer and another variable as float. See, now I'm trying to add this integer and float. I'm printing first A. A value is 90 and it comes under int data type. Int is a class in Python. So next I'm going to print B. So 90.8 is value of B. It comes under float data type and float is a class in Python. So I'm trying to print C. The addition of one integer value and one float value can be done by using the float data type. Why? Because means so int is a subset of float that comes to theory part. And again, a float by using float, what we can do means float data type is also used to represent a scientific notation of data. So see here. So let us consider the value of A is this much big. Let us consider that value of A is that. And so Python will store this large data in the form of scientific notation. See, I'm trying to print the value of A and its type also. It has taken this value and converted into scientific notation form. The scientific notation form is this. 1 represents this last one digit 1. So 1 represents 1. E means exponent, e to the power of minus 42 it is, means we have minus 42 zeros. Last digit is 1. So see, the general notation of scientific notation of data is given below. How the scientific notation of data is represented in general way. See, variable name is equals to Montisa into E plus exponent, or you can represent variable name is equals to Montisa into E minus exponent. So we can use plus exponent and minus exponent also. Equivalent floating point value For this scientific notation of data, see here how the floating point value is declared. So mantissa into 10 to the power of exponent. All members are thinking like to the power of exponent. Why I wrote like this means in place of this we can write power means it is wrong. So see how it is wrong. So all of you know 2 power 2 is 4, right? 2 power 2 means 2 into 2. So that is 4, right? So let's see here. A is equals to 2 power 2. So I'm trying to print this A. So 2 power 2 is 0. Not right. So 2 power 2 is 4, right? So but it giving 0. Why? So that is the reason I'm not using here this power symbol. Okay. So I'm using this information 10 to the power of exponent. So actually equivalent floating point value for scientific notation of data is mantissa into 10 to the power of exponent. Mantissa into 10 to the power of exponent. What is the advantage of scientific notation of data? So why we want to use scientific notation of data? To take less memory at a time of storing biggest floating point value. So if we are storing biggest floating point value, then we want more memory, right? So in order to store the data in less memory, converting that biggest floating point value into scientific notation of data in order to store that value in less memory space. So that is the main advantage of this scientific notation of data. And this scientific notation of data comes under float data type only. The float data type allows us to store decimal number values as floating point values. Only we can use the decimal number values as floating point values. But it never allows to represent binary, octal, hexadecimal values. Let's see. So I'm opening Python command prompt. So here I'm declaring A is equals to 0B1010 dot 0B 1110. If I declare like this, see, it throws an error, syntax error, invalid decimal error. So float allows only decimal number system only, not allows binary and octal hexadecimal number systems. So let us see it allows octal or not. So see, it throws an error, right? Syntax error, invalid decimal literal. So now we are trying to store an hexadecimal. So it is also throws an syntax error. Float allows only decimal number system, not hexadecimal, not octal number system, and not binary number system. So mainly by using int data type, we can represent the number systems, different type of number systems. So by using float data type, we can represent scientific notation of data. This is an advantage. In order to store that big value of data in less memory space, that is an advantage of float data type. So this is all about float data type. That's it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. In next episode, we will go for bool data type.